Welcome to your Saheli Chat Show. My name is Jazz Saikon and मेरे नाल हैगियां Devinda and Gurdial. Hello Ji,
Sat Shri Akal
Ji. Jai Gurudev. How are you been?
Really good, thank you.
Good.
Enjoying the hawa.
Exactly, it's quite a windy day today, Hannah.
Yes, yeah.
The Ajasi topic we put very enjoyable, we like but we're looking at different aspects, how things have changed. The topic is marriages.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about jida pehla sade parents de time na sade time ana arranged marriages hunde sige ta hon sara kuch kafi badal gaya hai na. Like, shall we start with the arranged marriage?
Yeah,
we're going to look at all aspects of marriage.
Yes, yeah, I mean, if I think about my own mum and dad's marriage, they got married just, you know, without meeting each other. They were just told that they were going to get married and they just arrived at the Gurdwara and all that kind of happened. My dad came over from India, but weirdly my grandparents were told that it wasn't going to be a successful marriage because of this Janam Patri that people do. And they never had a good marriage. Within 7 years they'd got divorced. So that wasn't very nice, but that was back then.
Just picking on the divorce was very rare those days, right?
Sounds very unfortunately, it wasn't a choice. It was a case where, because of domestic violence, there was no way that it could carry on. I mean, even now, that you know, the statistics are that 2 women or even more die per week through domestic violence. My nanny was a very strong person, and my nana, and they had my mum with 6 children in tow. But unfortunately, probably because of the shame of it, my granddad died in India. He couldn't face coming back to all of that, and I'm sure there were a lot of there was a hell of a lot of judgment and things like that, and people just think you should carry on, you know, regardless. But that was that. So that was my parents' version.
You know, you saying that, I'll share my mum and dad's. Like you said, your nanny was strong. I had a very strong nanny too. My nanny went to my dad's bend to ask his parents and his grandparents for the rashta. And my nana was already in the UK. This is like back in 1960. My nana was already here. So my nanny went and asked for the rashta, and it happened like that. And they were lucky. They got a photo of each other. So you were lucky if you had a photo. Otherwise there was no meetings. And that's why back in the day, like my husband's Masi, she was so tiny, and Masir was like 6'3". Ida raste ho jande si hai na, because all he was like jida khandan dekhde hunde si ke saane piche ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਸਤੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਐਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਕੁੜੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਲੰਬੀ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਐਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ things have changed a little bit. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੋ ਕੋਈ
I remember look at my mom and dad's wedding pictures and mom da kunde te takkar I was thinking daddy didn't actually see what my mom looked like kunde te takkar hunde sige I was thinking can you imagine luckily my mom was a very beautiful lady, so my dad was a very lucky man. But can you imagine the woman or the partner or the man didn't turn out how you wanted, there's no choice, you just had to accept it.
And look how strong the marriages were those days, and look at the beliefs, the teachings women had. It's not just you and your husband, you're marrying the whole family the nalia, and respect enni hundi sigi, because kuch bhi hove parents ne bhi kiya siga tu mud ke ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਰਨਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਕਰਨ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ. So that was like really hard, like for our grandparents and our parents
to say that.
They didn't have a voice, did they? I'm not just taking the women's side, but women I think had it the hardest.
Oh, definitely.
And I think if you had a good marriage and you had a good family both sides, then you were totally blessed. But
absolutely.
if you didn't, then you know the women or the man, whichever way you want to look at it, they were suffering, and I think because they were the first generation to come to this country, they didn't know how, they were just surviving, you know, how to kind of just get around doing what they needed to do. But as we've evolved, then obviously things have changed.
But I think at the time our parents, when they were younger and before then, they were already conditioned from a young age that you're only here temporarily, that utte jaakar thoda ghar banna, that's your asli family. So whatever the situation was, they learn to just adapt to it. You just surrender to it. This is it, I've got no way out of it. It's changed now. You know, we sort of like become it's changed. So
and it'll change more, you know, with like us and then our children and their children. So and our parents knew jado itthe aaye sige but one day everything's going to evolve, right? We're all going to become one. But while we can kind of keep a little bit control and ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਛੇਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ time ਸੀ I got married at 18 so you know most girls were getting married young because only they had this fear and love marriage was very taboo
very taboo
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਰਾਇਆ love marriage you know ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ
even if in the same caste in the same community even then love marriage was a taboo
there were even parents you know there was even a case growing up I remember where the couple the father found out his daughter was having a love marriage, came in early from work, shot his wife, then shot himself because he couldn't handle it. Dekhta how long way with
what is it that they think that the girls thinking about obviously on something on a sexual nature that she must be a bad girl you know to have a love marriage you don't think about relationships and intimacy before you get married so already she's been labelled that she's not acceptable and she's not decent
but that's their thinking in those days through education and acceptance and living in this modern society you either change and kind of follow what everybody else is doing or you're kind of stuck and it's really
but marriages all relationships are based on love
but love should be
they should be and that's most important part of any connection you know but then love was not talked about love is something not what we get into marriage for marriage is more like a contract it's an obligation a duty but love no one talked about
we were told we don't talk to boys mundiya na friend nahi banna hega
देखना भी नहीं
and school जाना है कट्ठियां ने मुड़ के आना है otherwise your mom or chachi will pick you up so we
but कपड़े भी ऐदां दे you have to dress up
बाल भी बनने
long skirts
so you know because they were like first generation to come here so it's a big change for them but their beliefs and their patterns were repeated from their parents and it's what they knew and it was like a safety thing उन्होंने चंगेले किता जो भी किता because they weren't ready for love marriages and like it's a big explosion isn't it everything happening at once for them
and I think the most important thing was that our grandparents wanted to hold on to their culture, their identity, because that was what was the most important thing, and that's important for them at that time. But as you kind of go through the generation, for them it was important. I mean, if you think about the first weddings, they were all bindle. Majority of people, you know, the bindle were as important as the family. Whereas if you think about weddings now, it's watering it down all the time.
That's right.
And because we don't know who they are or what they mean, so then you know we can't. Why should we have these people there?
And COVID has changed things more. COVID has changed things more because we've realised and we don't need these big fat weddings. What are we doing? Who are we trying to please? You know, inviting 600-700 people who we barely see, like say with the bingo and stuff, and then our children definitely don't know them. Agle nu bhi tang karde, aap bhi tang hunde hain, and you can do, you know, shorter bia, better venue.
That's right.
Less people.
And I think at the beginning it was nobody had anywhere else to go. So going to a wedding was like the biggest thing.
Yes.
But now everybody's got busy lives, so they don't want. They haven't got the time to go to even their own immediate family events, and that creates.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think big weddings is really about showing off.
Yes.
I mean, I know I have all these contacts when bande jaan there. And also it's competition as well. And also it was about you know,
so
I should call them. I should call them because I'm afraid of offending someone, afraid of being disliked, afraid of being talked about in the rest of the family. So it's nothing they're coming from really for the love of the child and the couple. It's all about other people and competition.
And jehdi tangi kudi wale nu appa dinde si, I remember going to weddings just 2-3 ਕੋਚਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ as well as the cars. Look at the ਕੁੜੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ ਉਦਾਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਲੈਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. That's too much. That had to go. It's like going back to weddings ਜਦੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਦਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਚਾਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ our times ਹਫਤਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ everybody was in your house all day. It was like a proper wedding. You know ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਭੇਜਣਾ ਵੀ Asaha chitti pejaniya, everybody come and they'd go to the Kuri wale, the munde wale would go to invite them to the wedding, you know, to see ayo. So there was that, and then there was the cry program the same day or the day after, and then the build-up was just so much fun, wasn't it? Jolly veg google pone 5 din pehla, and then the manya, and then the jago, and then the naan ki shak.
I think others maybe got away with it, Hannah, because I think there's more people live together, so more close-knit families. But now everybody's living, and everybody's living more separately and more independently. But although I think when we first came to this country, everybody's still living together.
And you're obliged to do all these functions, these traditions. Even now, I mean, I think they're beautiful. I still would do them, and I did do them for my children.
My children didn't.
I like them, but nobody judges you now. Not as many people judge you. Before, everybody felt they had to do it.
I think it depends as well if you've got that older generation in your family. If you haven't got, like both my parents are not here, my grandparents aren't here.
Then it's okay,
so then they're not there to kind of.
So you are the oldest generation, aren't we?
I don't know why they do. Do you know what I mean? The manya and all this. So my kids were like, "Mum, we don't want it," and that was okay. So.
And I think it's really also because it looks nice in pictures. People like having those sort of photos and dressed up, and it's just a way of having fun. But this, I don't think there's really actually a very powerful reason behind it. I mean,
it would be nice to know the reasons, right? And then we understand it better. But you know, some of them we do understand, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And even then, you know, it's like when our kids get married, I think we should know the meaning of why we're doing it. Only then,
because they will ask you that.
Only then will they allow you to do it, and they will then also carry on because they understand the meaning.
But then if you have to believe in it, so it's like some people they think it's bad luck, it's not a good way to start. But if you believe in it, you know, and then it will, that's what they will experience. But some people don't believe in it. Kuch nahi hoga. Nothing will happen to them. Nothing will happen to them.
And say, we wouldn't think. That's how we are. We don't know anymore.
It's all
superstition. And can you imagine, you don't do the pani bar. The Siane would want to see that. And again, that bit of this stuff is in me. I would want it as well. I would want to do that.
But people who are really into this, they'll remember it, because later on, sometimes the problem, clash, so they'll hold on to those sort of things.
So we've touched on how marriages have changed, how we've evolved. You know, like from the arranged marriage, we've given our children, you know, permission, blessings. You tell us when you meet somebody. No, we try not to put a lot of pressure on them. But culturally, ਜਦੋਂ ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, would you say that still is there for, like, you know, ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਏ ਹੈਗੇ, for them parents to feel ਸਾਡੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਹਜੇ?
Yeah, I suppose that's a bit, I can relate to that, because obviously most of the children in our family have got fixed or they're married, so I'm sort of like the one still waiting to be married. And there have been moments I was thinking, oh man, I think you should start looking for a guy now. But then I was thinking, why am I saying that? I'm only saying that because the others have got married and I don't want you to feel left out. And I'm thinking, but you're very independent, very confident lady, and why do you have to get married? It just, is it because other people might think there's something wrong with you, you're not acceptable, you're not worthy as a woman, you know, but you are, I know you're such a powerful, you know, powerful girl that there's nothing lacking in you, so why do you need to be married in order to, you know, to feel valued and being worthy in the society?
Again, it's that, you know, some would look at it as belonging, codependency, and we also spoke about, look at these powerful women.
Yes.
Rekha, Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Parakh as well. They never got married, and they didn't have this codependency. They weren't missing out on any love. The whole world loves them today.
That's only because they fell in love with life. They fell in love with their art and their passion and the energy that they were sort of expanding out there. They didn't get one person to love them, their partner. They got the whole world to love them back. because they're so in love with life.
Yes.
And I was thinking, for any girl or boy out there, if you fall in love with life and fall in love with your passion, that love will come back to you. Oh my God, it'd be so much that you'd never be dependent on that one person, that partner you're meant to live the rest of your life with.
Happy.
Yes.
And also, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਆ you know, marry yourself, love yourself enough. Only then can you love the other person and the other person can love you, but it starts with you.
That's it.
And I think apne bachche probably need this sort of coaching or this sort of programming even more, because they've got so much freedom and they've got so much independence. We're supporting them even to a situation where we're even accepting mixed marriages. We're thinking assi dekhde family dekhde ha, nyana dekhde kidan da, and if that person makes my son, my daughter happy, then I'm going to support my child, because nobody else is going to.
Well, I think we're in a position where we are accepting and we're quite open to whatever comes towards us. But there are still a lot of people out there who don't celebrate, you know, freedom of being who you want to be, or even having an amazing art and allowing that to kind of continue, because we still feel, and like I said, we're in a different position to the majority of people, where they still feel the pressure of somebody saying, oh, tere munde da biyah nahi hale hoya, teri kudi da nahi biyah hoya, inna di gaan, you know what I mean? It's like a time delay, and I think that can have a negative impact on that person.
Because the parents worry, thinking, I don't want log kuch say anything negative about my child, there's something wrong with my child. It's painful for a parent to hear that somebody judging their child that's not good enough.
Yeah, so it's important that you know, other people भी जे किसी दा न्याना नहीं ब्याह होया कुछ कहन नालों तुसी इदा कहो भी मैं help करूँगी टोलन नू जा जे तुसी चाहते हैं, so you're uplifting that person. तुसी इदा नहीं कहते जी मतलब थोड़े न्याने नू कुछ होया जा I'm in a better position than you are because my children are married. करके life the which je thodi nyane byaye bhi is there still challenges.
And like you said, it's nice because that bajolgiri is dying down. And jere hon bachche uni jande a ona nu kothe mil janda life partner, so they settle down, but jena nu nahi milya koi, you know, all their parents said kise na gal nahi karni. There are families of all sorts, right? Still kei keh dende tu pan jana hai, padhai karke mud ke ghar nu aayi, right? Munda hove kudi hove, and then we'll do your wedding afterwards. And some children don't meet anybody. So I think it's a lovely thing to koi dasta, because it's a recommendation, and it's always that, and also that person, they know the family that they're recommending to you.
But je tusi recommend karde hain, ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ you get involved.
ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ
ਪਰ ਲੋਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਚੋਲੀ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰੋ ਇਹ ਕਰੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਹੀ ਦੇਣਾ ਆ ਬਸ ਕਿ ਆਪ ਸਿੱਚੋ ਮਿਲ ਲੈ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ, ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਠੀਕ ਆ,
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੁਛ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪੇ ਦੱਸ ਦੋਗੇ।
ਪਰ ਲਾਈਫ 'ਚ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਆ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜੋ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਉਮਰ 'ਚ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰੋ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ bring parents ਬੱਚੇ ਲਿਆਓ. It's just like constant people's demands and putting people under pressure, but we're not living free. And it's okay not to be educated, because you can be educated when you're 40 or 50. There's not a set time, and you're not left behind. People think I'm getting left behind, or the degree hogi, or they've got kids now, mere bacche nahi hoye. It's all feeling of lack and feeling inadequate that we feel so threatened by.
And we feel we have to enter one institution, then another institution, then another one, because we feel as if piche reh gaye hain.
That's right.
You know, and kinne pressure aapa paunde apne aap te bhi, apne bachchiyan te bhi. And I'm not against marriage. I think it's a wonderful thing. And ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ you know ਅੱਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੇ parents ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਇਸ ਕਾਸੇ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, you know, to see that day, and which we all want to see our children happy and settled. And it will be when it is you know, they're their own people, and ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੱਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਤੇ ਮੁੰਡਾ, they had freedom. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੋਲਣਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਨ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖਣ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਨ, ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਗਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ this is a life partner, ਕਿ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਾਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਾਹ, you should want to be together.
Let's just start from friendship.
Exactly. Friendship ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੋਵੇ, ਫਿਰ marriage ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ you can't have a laugh and ਤੁਸੀਂ you're not relaxed around each other, that person's not for you.
Yes.
But you want to be a relationship where you can have a laugh and okay, safe to be miserable and it's safe to be grumpy and be acceptable,
You're being authentic, you're being real, you're being courageous, what you feel you can say to the other person.
And start some friendship.
It does.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ chance ਦੇਵੋ to know each other. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ 2-4 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਮਿਲਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਰੱਖੋ. That doesn't work like that.
ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ,
ਨਹੀਂ ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਵਿਚੋਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਆ, ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਿਓ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਹਨਾ, ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਜੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗੱਲ ਬਣਨੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਣਨੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਨਿਆਣਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ if it wasn't meant to work out, they know. ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ 5-7 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਾਂ 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਣਾ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ, and that's a bigger mess.
Yes, definitely.
I remember ਵਿਚੋਲਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਵਿਚੋਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ they used to get the wedding ਕੱਪੜੇ ready, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਦੇ ਸੂਟ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰੋ, ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਦੇ ਪੱਗ ਸ਼ਰਟ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰੋ. It's like they had the main outfits, didn't they?
ਵਿਚੋਲੇ would treat you like royalty, and ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਰეკਮੈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ. This is funny because ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਰეკਮੈਂਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ, ਹਨਾ, ਤਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਨੇ ਨਿਆਣਾ ਨਾ ਮੰਨਿਆ, ਉਹ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ,
ਟੁੱਟ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ.
I was thinking of mum ਮੇਰਾ wedding ਪਾਪਾ my suit, ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਦੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਤਿਆਰ ਦੇਂਗੀ. Okay.
You know, my vicholia, my wedding, she got 13 suits. ਉਹਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਭੈਣ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੀ oh my god, ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਇਹ ਵਿਚੋਲੀਆ ਕਿ ਨੈਣ ਆ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਬੜੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੂਟ ਬਣੇ, 13 ਸੂਟ ਬਣੇ. ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਸੀਗੀ, you see, the eldest one, and she parents worry, ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਵਿਚੋਲੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਆਉਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਰਹਿਣ, ਵਿਚੋਲੀ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਸੂਟ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਣਾ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਦੇ ਕਰਦੇ. ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੱਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਮਾਣ ਤਾਣ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ.
ਪਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁੜੀ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ. that should be enough.
ਹਨਾ,
if somebody thanks me with their heart and says you've done such a thank you for, ਹੁਣ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੇਰੇ my daughter-in-law and my son, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕੀਤਾ, I'm so grateful to them.
Exactly.
For me that's enough. ਸੀਸਾ ਹੀ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ.
It is a risky job for them, Wells, because if marriages didn't work out and they're thinking they'll get the blame for it.
And
that's a risk, isn't it?
And ਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਈ viewers ਵੀ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆ, ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ recommend ਕਰੋ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਬਣੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਵਿਚੋਲੇ ਬਣਨਾ ਦੋ ਸਿਰ ਜੋੜਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਆ. It's a very big blessing ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦਾ, right?
ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਫ਼ ਦਿਲ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸਾਫ਼ ਦਿਲ ਨਾਲ, and leave them alone until they are ready, and then you know they'll let you know anyway. So ਜ਼ਰੂਰ recommend ਕਰੋ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ struggle ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ to meet somebody, because ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਹੁਣ ਕਰਨ ਵੀ ਕੀ, they go on the apps, right? apps ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ you meet all sorts of people. ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ, ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਈਆਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ the Tinder swindler ਪੈਸੇ ਮੰਗਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ, because there's all sorts of people out there and they're doing it for all sorts of reasons. So it is a big step, and we've never had to go on any apps and we don't know how they work, but you hear from the children how
swipe right and swipe left and things like
and
that.
then you see programs like that, or you hear things on the news, but you know that woman got that much money taken off her, but ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ.
That's right.
So you know it's hard.
ਕਰਕੇ
ਅੱਗੇ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, and then they're gonna go and they're gonna look after their in-laws. It was totally different. Our in-laws were different to how we are with our children. ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ love marriage ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, their partners are welcome to come to our house. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ
that's right.
Gay traditional ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ. I think that's a little bit, I don't know, it's up to them, but I think it's a bit out to date now.
I prefer my children to be in a relationship with their partners well before they get married. I want them to I mean they come to the house or whatever, they can meet up even at their family close function to be asked. It doesn't bother me as long as they're very comfortable and trust, and that's trust built ho jana, and that's the most important thing.
And you know apna jeevan sathi tusi aap chunna, you're so lucky, the kids nowadays. So you know be real, and also jo assi nahi kar sakde sige, we've given permission to our children to do that, right? And have those luxuries and have those opportunities. So
but I personally believe that if we didn't know this information that we're sharing nowadays, and if I knew about and concept of the marriage with yourself, Pella, that really has an impact on all your relationships. And I mean, if I knew this stuff before, my marriage would have been a lot more different in the beginning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know? Because there was a part of there replaying, I felt I still needed to prove myself, I still needed to be accepted, I didn't understand how to value and love myself. But if I knew all this information I know now, my first few years of my marriage would have been very different.
Exactly, like I said, we were told we're not to have any, we're not to be friends with any boys, we're not to talk to any boys, and then at a young age you marry whoever your parents say you've got to marry, so you marry a complete stranger.
Yeah,
you know, it's
like a
big thing for us to
and
deal with.
You have to share everything with them, and you have to be in a room alone with them. It's a scary thing for a woman.
But I think we were just parcels.
we were
just parcels.
Just wrapped up the bow on it.
You know, you were literally your parents for however many years, up to 17, 18. Then you were told, and when you were there, you had to listen to your parents or your husband and in-law. So then you were never your own person.
No, I mean, you lose yourself.
You do, and most of us got married because thinking, I'm going to find myself. I personally got married to say, I'm going to find myself. Who am I really? I'm going to be able to cut my hair because I wanted to do these things. I wanted to wear makeup. I wanted to wear dresses. So, you know, we think, I'll get married because they said, and then you've got to ask everybody else. आजकल दे कुड़ियां ने कितना डिफरेंट आ उन्हां ते कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं हैगी कोई नहीं कहंदा तू ए नहीं कर सकदी ओ नहीं कर सकदी but कुड़ियां भी different are they're older पढ़ियां लिखियां आ
I think the difference is the education if they're educated and they've been to university or college or done something to educate then they can kind of negotiate and be with somebody very like-minded whereas we were just.
But it needs more than education, Vidal, because I feel it's a family you've been brought up with. Because I knew my daughter when she was at uni, and she was obviously hanging around with kids. They seem quite open spirited and everything. They're out there having fun, dating and everything. But when they went back home, they're still hardwired in the thinking of they had to stick to the traditions they were brought up with. All of a sudden, they couldn't be themselves. They're actually just acting and behaving as if their parents had actually programmed them from a young age.
Living a double life.
Yes. And some children do struggle when they come back home. Because one minute they've got all this freedom, and then next minute they've got to conform back to.
So I know this particular people knew that they still had to sort of like do what their parents told them, had to marry the people their parents wanted them to marry.
And that's the thing.
They accepted it. They said this is it. They thought that's okay for them to do that because that's what the rest of the siblings did it. So we expect to do it, but they weren't living that at uni. Do you understand? So it's like
a double life.
Double life.
And the other question is, you know, a few weeks before, is it normal to have a few wobbles before the big day?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I totally think so because it's a big thing, big commitment. You might be, you know, you might not be like saying, oh my God, you know, I can't talk to anybody, but I'm feeling X, Y, Z. So whatever you're feeling, it's good to open up before the big day. Then, like I said, afterwards have issues, right?
It's a hidden fears suddenly creep up. Like if you're like going to do like talk publicly on stage, all of a sudden you get a stage fright, isn't it? So all of a sudden your body automatically starts, you know, bringing up, you know, all our fears of, am I worthy? Am I able to, you know, stay in a commitment? Am I going to be a failure? You know, all these sort of, like you said, old programming starts coming up, and that's when the wobble comes.
And it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a new chapter. Unknown and a new chapter.
And I think for some girls especially, probably boys as well, if it's a big wedding, they're not used to just walking in where there's going to be so many people. Now that's a massive thing. I mean, some people, I mean, even, you know, I can talk about my own daughter-in-law, she wouldn't like a big crowd. And I know other people who just don't like that kind of thing. And there are plenty of girls and boys out there who do like the whole big event, but there's lots of people who just like intimate, small weddings, and that's important to consider.
And when they don't like it, it's like all eyes are on them on the big day.
That's what I mean.
And
exactly.
People can't deal with it, which is
a lot.
Definitely. So now we'll go on to you know, like jadon biyah ho janda hai, because nowadays in-laws are very accepting, and you know, okay, everything there. If you want to live with us, you're very welcome. If you don't want to, you're free to buy your own place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you in agreement with that? Is that what you did, or?
I think it's got to work for the people that are involved, because you know, down the line it might not work, and people will feel embarrassed coming out of living in a family home to go to then living separately, and everybody loves to talk about these kind of things. You know, people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. If you support your children with their children, then that's good, but you might, because we want our own space, we enjoy doing what we want to do, and the children want to do but if they want to go there but they still care about each other, then it's nobody's business, and that's what I think about it.
But I also think you're talking about the wobble thing that comes into this. The wobble also comes as part of us on a subconscious level. We fear our space, you know, our territory is being invaded.
Yes.
On a subconscious level, so that brings a wobble, because we got used to it, because energetically we like to have an arm's length space, and all of a sudden that arm's length space is going to go. But I think also because as parents now, our lifestyles have changed, and we're sort of also respecting and honouring our space as well, our territory. We never used to before, but because we've got the taste of it, we also realise the importance of our own space, even with our children. So even sometimes now, I think most parents would be comfortable if the child did want to have their own space, because we started to honour our space, and we don't feel the threat and the fear of being alone and abandonment anymore, because we love our space now.
We're content. I mean, I can use my own example with my son and daughter-in-law, that we all live together, just like you live with your children, and as long as you're all respectful of, it doesn't matter that another person's coming to the family, but it's about recognising that your mums and your dads have got their own lives.
Respecting each other's boundaries, giving each other the space.
And cleaning and tidying and contributing in whichever way.
If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, shouldn't be a problem, and nobody should be gossiping like say, you know, buddiyan gardiyan gossiping.
Well, bande do too.
Bande, I think, do it less. I think buddiyan know too much about the community. There are bande as well, I agree with you.
But the women, so they milk it more.
They milk it more, they bring it home.
But ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਆ, ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਚ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ.
This is what they don't realize. This is where I want
Maybe hogia, but they just like to
put the attention on somebody else's goal. And I just think, you know what, at the end of the day, you want everyone to be happy, but life isn't always like that. You know, marriages, we want them to last forever and ever, but they don't always, do they? And not all happily ever afters stay happily ever after. I mean, yesterday they were talking about divorces our age group people. So many people my age I know, like, whose marriages are broken because they've probably done the inner work and they feel strong enough to actually, you know, this ain't working. We need to separate.
And I think it's a sacrifice as well, that they've made a sacrifice up to the age of 55 or 50, and their children are now married, and they think, I just can't live this life that isn't really me anymore. It's time to be me. It's time to find me. And those that don't blame, and they're like, you know, they're accepting ho gaya, but there are still a lot that would like to blame the other party. Mera divorce down hoya ode karke, then their children have got a paintbrush and painting that person, the mother or the father, as the nasty one, and it just turns so ugly. It does.
And this new law that's only just come out yesterday, no blame divorce.
So that's how it should be.
I've never heard of that.
That's a new thing. It's only just been announced yesterday, and a couple of my lawyer friends really wanted us to touch on this, and I said, but we're talking about marriages. And from marriages, you know, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ, ਪਰ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਹਨਾ? So there's a no blame divorce.
That's true, because no one is to blame. We always think that, like we were talking about in the car.
Okay, we're not talking. You mean the bit where I wasn't involved.
A neutral process that's been allowed and it's been approved, which is, you know, they can have a conversation, end it in an amicable manner, and there's no ugliness, hopefully.
Because in the past, we always felt that we needed to blame someone just to feel that I'm okay, I'm the correct one, I'm the right one. And we get a sense of support and encouragement and upliftment that if somebody else gets blamed, I feel whatever decision I'm making the right decision. But
you're taking the higher ground.
Yeah, you're taking the higher ground, but there's no one to blame.
That's not right.
It takes two people to create that same situation. But we just want to blame the other party just to feel some sort of connection to the people and validation that, you know, I feel safe in the decision I'm making, because actually you're so vulnerable at that time.
Of course.
And the only way we can get rid of the vulnerability, we use ugliness to blame someone else, which is totally wrrong.
And it gets rid of all that anger.
Yes.
And rather than and trying to understand it at a deeper level, that things happen. We all grow apart. You know, friends grow apart, siblings grow apart. It's just a part of life, isn't it?
It is. But all that anger, you know, it's a nasty journey to go through anyway. It's ugly and hard. But then all that anger, look what it does to that person. You know, look what happened to your body. Look how you're going to react to every situation. And look how your body cells, you know, your illnesses are going to come out. It's, you know, scary.
If it was okay to blame,
let go.
If blame was the correct decision, then you won't be having all these after effects in your body, suffering and your mental health and your physical health. Obviously, your body's telling you whatever you sort of, you know, blamed, that wasn't the higher decision to make. But no one's to blame, because the other person's always, like you said, reflecting back her own insecurities.
Absolutely, and you don't want to inflame the situation anymore.
Especially when there's kids involved.
Yes, exactly, especially when there's kids involved, because parents there, so just to touch on this, because there's a new thing that's just been passed. It was done yesterday.
Can I just say that in regards to that, it's really important that, because the mothers generally get the children, it's really, really important to share the children with the dad, because I think, you know, when that happens, it's really difficult for the dad to feel that he's a part of anything, because he's lost everything, and it's important that the children are not brought and fought over, so that he's got a reason to carry on as well.
This is what they should be told, you know. So I didn't need money really for whatever reason, but he's still your dad and she's still your mom, and you feel free to talk to both parties, because it'll be nice for the children, and then it's fair for both parties as well.
I think it makes it easier.
Yes,
but look at the impact it's having on the children. The child's already thinking that this is what relationships are about. There always has to be someone that needs to be blamed. There's always going to be somebody at fault, and it's not me, it's always the other person.
Definitely.
So nobody's going to have the power. This is where we lose our, you know, we get powerless in a situation, thinking that other people out there to get at me. So the child's suffering already, is going to affect their relationships when they're older. So if they want to separate, I think, a mother and a father, they've got to find a way to do it amicably, and also make her realize that even though we're not married, but we can stay as friends. And that children can understand that relationships about friendship. It's not all about marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. And touch a little bit on, like, say your child, you know, doesn't want to get married, and let's touch on that.
I mean, it's happened. I know of lots of different situations where, you know, a guy, mainly a guy, has been forced to get into a marriage, and then down the line, maybe after a few years, a couple of years, you know, few things can happen. One is that he could be gay, so therefore you're bringing into another, bringing another whole family into your own experience, and that is so unfair. You know, fair enough. You know, I don't think we make it easier for people to speak out about their sexuality, and that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. But even if that guy or the woman is gay or lesbian or whatever it is, please don't bring another family into it. You know, if you can't tell your parents, then be strong enough to at least not involve another family into your personal affairs. Because, you know, down the line, because if somebody's
can't
gay,
hide anything like that.
They're not going to ever be attracted to that woman who's done nothing wrong, who's gone into that marriage thinking that she's going to have children, she's going to, you know, she's going to start her whole life with this marriage.
Exactly.
And that's so unfair. And there's another one where there's been a guy who's been seeing another woman for about 3 years, but she may be of a different caste, colour, religion, whatever you want to call it. But then he's agreed to get married because of his family pressure. And then down the line, he's still left this woman for this other woman that he was seeing. So what was the point?
But sometimes they don't even leave them; they lead a double life.
And look at the trauma on that person that's living the double life as well. The one that's duality, that's chosen. But look at the other two parties, you know.
And their parents and their grandparents have bought into this whole relationship. And then, you know, there's been a couple of cases where, you know, the woman's been killed as well. And I just think that's so tragic, and it's avoidable.
This all stems from.
And also, like, you know, there are cases where the son doesn't want to get married, and the parents feel he may be gay. So ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਲੈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਮਨਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, again ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਖਰਾਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, which is not nice. And again, it's not going to work, is it? So listen to your child, whatever they want to say or whatever they're feeling. If you have that relationship with your child, I mean, I think they will.
In India, you know, we openly talk about kusre and that word, and it's quite accepted over there. And you know, I think they do this whole thing with Juttiya Marde when they die and stuff, so that they don't come back as that kind of person.
And they come and dance, don't they?
Something like that. You know. So. And I understand that, you know, parents will feel shame, and everybody wants the same as everybody else, but unfortunately life doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
But at least, you know, don't bring somebody else's family into it, is my point.
Exactly.
You know, be brave and be courageous, and if your family can't accept you, then move away from your parents even, or do something that says that I'm not going to go into that.
Because I watched a recent series on Netflix. Is it Fame or Game?
Oh
the Fame Game. Fame Game. That's really
that tells the story.
It does tell the story, because obviously it doesn't matter to see Amir or Garib or that this situation is going to be in any in area in your life. So she luckily the father didn't accept it, but the mother did, and
I think mothers are more generally accepting than the fathers.
Even though she was so much in the limelight, but she did not fear people's judgment, and so it doesn't.
I suppose our property mindset.
It is your mindset.
Some people are quite accepting. It's like there's 3 sisters. I'm quite, you know, accepting, quite modern, whereas my sisters are still kind of like set on things like this. Oh my God, you do this and you let the kids do that. We won't allow it.
It comes down to your mindset.
Me, and I suppose I'm just so connected to who I am, and that's why I'm accepting the other person, what they're saying to me. And understanding them, I suppose.
But it's interesting that you've said that, you know, there's difference within siblings or anything.
Definitely.
But I mean, when my children were small, I always said that when our kids go to university, they're going to drink sharab and they're going to do this. But it's better to just let them do it in front of you, so that it's not a big thing.
They tell you that you're like your friends,
because
and you know.
That's right. Yes.
So then there's this whole deceit going on.
Because you're rebelling.
Whereas if you say, look, you know, I'm doing it because I love you. I care about you. I don't want you to get hurt. So if you're coming from that place instead of a place of fear, it's fear or love, isn't it?
My children, I said, I respect every decision they make, even if it's the wrong decision. I even know that wrong decision, they're going to get a great learning from it. They're going to become wiser from it. So I will not condemn them on whatever decision they make, because I believe that they're only individuals that come on their own this life to have their own life journey and soul experience. So I respect their decision.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to say this is wrong, this is bad for them. You know, I just can't, because I'm not in the position, even though I'm a mother, I respect their soul journey.
Every so often, it's just good to sit your children down, and if they're not working or not married or whatever, just sit them down and say, what is your end goal? Just remind them, because life without a goal, it's not going to go anywhere. So we do always need goals, don't we? What's your end goal? You need to be on there. They haven't had a job for about 2-3 years, and you know they're getting a bit that lazy mindset. It's good to sit them down and say, right, okay, what's your end goal? What do you want to do?
And
I think they are free to do whatever they want to do because we're supporting them.
But they still need to contribute something towards the family, or even if it's charity work, so that they don't feel like their life is just, you know, of no importance.
Yes, stagnant life, not of importance. It's not good for anybody because the situation, the way everything is, all the increases, the insurance tax increases, people losing their jobs. We were just discussing in the car as we were coming, you know, job hegia. Be grateful. Again, upon gratitude, right? Be grateful for your job because there are so many people suffering out there. They've lost their jobs. Companies can't afford to replace staff that are going. And then where there are jobs, people are, during COVID, are becoming that mindset. They're saying sadi mental health allow nahi kardi sanu. We're concentrating on our mental health. We're concentrating on our sleep. We don't want to work. And you know, tusi restaurant jande hona. There's increases there, 20% VAT's back up. And obviously the working class, people that are working are feeling they're the ones that are kind of being crucified because they're working and their insurance taxes are going up. I think it's £1 to, I think it's 1p to every pound, a penny to every pound. But overall, you know, the government feels they need to claim this money back. But do you know the lender, so you can understand where they're coming from, so their rage and their anger. But it's like just very, like, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. Very unprecedented times at the moment.
I mean, the thing is, you just have to try and remain positive. You know.
You do.
You know, we're always, life is all about going through tough times, but you still see the light at the end of it.
And they're always
good. Better.
There's always things in our life that is working right.
Yes, look at those.
Look at those. So then the situations on there, there's always something. There's still got a roof over our head. We've still got hot water. You know, we've still got bread and milk in the fridge. So still focus on what is working right now. And the more you focus on that, the situations that we think that is causing a bit of a, you know, anxiety in people, that will eventually subside.
I mean, I remember when I was little, when you had to queue up to get sugar and butter. I mean, that was rationing in those days. I used to think it was fun standing in that line. I must have missed about 3 or 4, but we managed.
You do manage.
You know, you become more resilient.
You do.
And it's a good thing to tighten your purses and actually look at what your spending's like.
Exactly. Not needed. And now is the time to actually tighten those belts and just go through your bank statements.
And I think you value what you do more.
But I just really believe that people who actually are on a mindset of lack and scarcity, they will notice these sort of situations in life. And they would actually hear these news, and people not coming from this mindset, they won't even be aware of it. They will still see abundance in their life. They won't see things are too much for them. They'll always find a way that they'll always be able to afford anything they want. So it always comes down to your mindset and what you believe in.
And this is where we say, you know, the inner work, it's never enough. Then need to see Banshare sessions, Scarlett. It's for life. You've got to keep learning these things, right? And it just helps you get through life. That example you said, that guy that was really cross when you saw him, and through him, look at the experience you got because you were grounded within yourself.
I mean, I shared that with you the other night. You know, you were talking about how do you meet God? And I was thinking, well, for me, it's not God like to see this huge light around me and showering all these flowers or whatever. I actually experienced God through a situation, which situation might people see it as such a horrific situation. So this man at work just suddenly started shouting and raging and not gussa, he just kept shouting at the other patients that she doesn't understand, she's not paying me correctly. But I don't know, at that time, I just realized that I just knew how to stay calm and at peace. And and through that staying connected, because I felt like through him, I met God through him. Because I just saw, through all his rage and everything, that he helped me to stay centered and calm.
And that's why you control that situation. If you had gone on a rage, it would have only got worse.
It only got worse. So one of us had to stay calm and peaceful. Because I stayed in that calm and peace, I could just smile and be okay. But because through that, staying in that energy, I didn't see an angry man then. I just saw a man who was also full of God's love. and his actions did not have an impact on me. Even the other patients sitting in the room are going, oh my God, what's he doing, what's he saying? But I was just so at ease. But I'm just saying, any situation is how we're going to perceive it and how we're going to deal with it. We can react to it in the same way, or we can just respond in a place of calmness. So no matter what's going on with marriages or this financial situations in our life, we can just focus on what is working right in our lives.
And when you're in a good place, and how you respond or take it, when you're in a good place, you'll be fine. Like with everything going on around us, because we're in good places, we're okay with it. We're just getting on day to day without complaining about it too much, looking at the negatives. We're still managing to find the positives. So, our advice to you out there watching us is, please always remember your gratitude. Some people say all this stuff is woohoo. It's not, because it's really needed, and it's real people who've gone through real life scenarios, just wanting to really share what they've got and what they've learned from and how they've come together from their experiences.
I know a lot of moms who did a बहुत फिक्र करते हैं अपने बच्चों दे और फिक्र कर जो चीज़ दी फिक्र करते हैं happen
ਉਹੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ
right? So they used to say to me, तू आपदे कुड़ियां नो तो यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं दूर भेज दिया किन्ने साल तो फिक्र नहीं कर दी है and I said no, because I'm just seeing her. I know that जो भी कुछ करूँगी सब कुछ इधर वास्ते ठीक ही, everything will work out perfectly for her, and जो गलती भी करूँगी वो गलती जो सीखूँगी. So I never worried about her, and they used to think about माता natural in a behavior हुंदे ता जिस दिन से प्यार करता वो naturally worry आ जाती है. But I was thinking, well, why तुझे उधर प्यार नहीं कर सकते worry तो बगैर, so वो भी प्यार कर सकते हैं है ना उसी तरीके. Because worry just means I'm self-prophesizing,
constantly.
I'm self-prophesizing, kuch na kuch ho hi jana. So that's why I believe that jo mere bacche, they're always going to be okay in any relationship. Jithe bhi unna de kismat hai sanjog hai, they will have the perfect relationship that where they'll learn and grow from. No relationship is a mistake. That's all I know.
The knowledge je tusi Maharaj di, if you believe in God, fir tusi Maharaj de rakho bhi bas. They'll take care, ape look after karungi.
And he has him up there has a reason why we're here, and he'll always look out for us, and we'll always be okay. And it's just thinking like that,
fikr karna lo paat karo.
Hanji, fikr na karo, paat karo. Do your meditation. Look after yourself, look after the person next to you, and we'll be back very soon with another episode of your Saheli Chat Show. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.